So what are we still working on? We have evaluation systems. The assistant principals have the same standards as principals. But when they first rolled out the principal instrument, they couldn't decide whether they needed to write a new instrument for assistant principals or not, because oftentimes assistant principals do different tasks than principals do. They have taken a close look at that, and they've made the decision that because you go through the same preparation program, when you go to get your master's degree, they don't have one program for APs and one for principals. It's all the same. You're prepared in the same way. And you have the same standards, they have decided to use the same instrument to evaluate assistant principals. What that means is the role of the assistant principal across the state of North Carolina is going to have to change. Many schools that use the assistant principal in very specific ways are going to have to expand that role because they're now going to be evaluated across 7 standards. So you can't just do books, buses, and butts anymore. It's got to be a whole lot more than that they're working on. We are field testing the assistant principal instrument this year, starting December 1st. There are 3 districts in each of the 8 regions. You have 3 in this region that I'll be training on Friday for those people that were selected for the field test. As of July 1st, if the field test goes well, I'll be back here next summer training all the assistant principals in using their new evaluation instrument that is the same one as the principal. Okay. So let's talk specifically about the teacher performance evaluation system, the one that you're here to learn about. And I want to give you some general things that are true about this. It is clearly a measurement of the teacher's performance. There will be a decision made at the end of the year by one person. They will evaluate. Now the issue of subjectivity always comes up. You cannot have an evaluation instrument that is totally free of subjectivity. It's one person making a judgment on another person. This instrument, however, because the rubric is specific with the behaviors, tries to eliminate as much of that subjectivity as possible. It does serve as a guide for teachers to reflect upon their own practice. In all of the evaluation instruments, including the teacher one, there is a component called the self-assessment. Research tells us very clearly, and this is true for students as well, that if we were to do nothing else to the evaluation instrument except add a self-assessment, the performance of our teachers would go up. Because what the research says is if you are reflecting every year on what the skills are for your practice, you automatically get stronger just by refocusing your energy on those skills. So the self-assessment piece is one that's been very positively received by those that are using it. It is designed to improve instruction. It will focus the goals and objectives of the school because you can't ask your teachers to work on things that are not part of these standards and evaluation instruments. So it will automatically. It focuses your district. If we're going to be expecting 21st century skills from our teachers, we need to provide 21st century materials and training for them. It also will focus the state and legislature as well. It guides your professional development, as we talked about. It is a coaching, mentoring model. It changes the relationships between all employees and their evaluators, between principals and their superintendents, between teachers and their principals and APs. It does enhance the improved curriculum, and the one I really want to point out is that last bullet, inform higher education. That is a very powerful piece of this that many people are not tuned into. We have been presenting these standards and evaluation instruments to every public and private university in the state of North Carolina. And every one of them, if they want to continue to be an accredited institution, they must redo their teacher preparation program and their principal preparation programs by next year so that their standards align with our standards. They will have a similar rubric, so when the teachers graduate from their programs, they will be proficient on these very 21st century skills that we're talking about. Imagine the impact that that means for us 4 years from now when we're graduating students from those programs. We've never had a pre-K through 20 initiative that aligns so well as this one does, and you should see the benefits of that in a few years when people start graduating. Have you ever walked into a teacher's classroom and thought to yourself, what on earth did they do to prepare this teacher for this experience? That disconnect should not be happening as much once they are using the same standards we're using, okay?